Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the
Once upon a time, there was a area known as Turtle Island, sick. That's what certain people refer to it as. And there was people on the land over here. And this lady or some of her agents came over and met with these people. And they said, look at all these resources you guys have. This is awesome. Can we set up shop and do some business? And these guys went, sure. Because they had no idea what that meant, really. And plus, they didn't really understand the language that much. So there was an agreement put in place. Most of you in the logging industry will know that there's usually a 60-40 agreement. Somebody comes in, logs your bush, right? It's the guy doing the work, and usually the people owning the property get it a cut like that. So what they agreed to do is set up a little store. And I'm not sure if I'm infringing on a copyright here, but we'll just call it a Walmart. So the 60% goes to her organization. She had a corporation that does business. Known as Her Majesty. And Her Majesty had a bank where she borrows money from, known as the Crown. So any money that this little shop made, 60% of it went to Her Majesty, went to Her Majesty's bank, known as the Crown. And they did her books for her. The 40% went to these people, but these people didn't really know what to do with it anyway. They didn't need it. So Her Majesty organized a trustee.
That's true.
And then these people ended up also banking for these people. How convenient. And this corporation did all right, and then they said sooner or later they started up a second and a third and a fourth corporation inside the territory. Now, this agreement was in place. These people, or the corporations, exported lots of products and cut down as many trees and killed as many animals as they could, shipped it all over, wherever they wanted to, and 60% went to her bank account, 40% went to here, to this bank account. And the people in here, work in the store, they all wore the blue uniform of Her Majesty, or I guess the red, we'll call it red, sure. And they were all bound by the laws of this corporation, okay? These people were her subjects. They weren't Canadians, they weren't Americans, they were British people. Then around that time, these people started traveling the world and they realized that they could issue passports, and they did. So I'm leaving this very general and very quick, right? But so these people were able to issue passports because they had land, language, and culture, and they were their own nation. These people were subjects of her. Then after a while, these guys got into a little bit of financial trouble, and they merged Upper Canada was still solvent, Lower Canada. Well, if the one was still solvent, that means the other one wasn't. So they merged these two, and they formed the province of Canada, and then the Crown renewed the loans to these corporations. And then after a while, they got into more trouble, and then they formed the Dominion of Canada. And then the Crown again renewed her loans to keep this corporation afloat. And of course, 40% every time something leaves here, 40% is going into the trust fund. These people here are still all wearing the Walmart uniform, being owned, the corporation being owned by Her Majesty, sitting on the land, having the right to do business here, and that's it. And these people are still cashing in still accruing their 40% into a trust fund. So then they started again building a railroad across, and that bankrupted this corporation again. And funny thing happened that this corporation's revenue fund got merged with the Indian Trust Fund. And all of a sudden, these guys became a country and could issue passports. But if you want to be a country and issue passports, you need land, language, and culture. Does everybody see what happened? This thing was under a distress sale. The only money was sitting in this trust fund. The trustee of this trust fund said, hey, it's Walmart's 10 cents on the dollar, let's buy some stock. Now all of a sudden, all the people inside here are part of the corporation of Canada. They can issue passports and securities and all that other fun stuff, right? However, this still applies, right? So now the people that are born in here, and I'm going to speak in regards to Ontario because I know those documents a little better, although we have the British Columbia ones here. You'll see them. If somebody, well, you guys will know what they look like more than I will. If some little baby is born in here, that baby, well, because of the marriage contract, the baby is now the property of Her Majesty. This baby gets registered with the Vital Statistics Branch, the Registrar General, the Deputy Registrar, signs this document off and it says, I'm satisfied to the, somebody help me out, accuracy and completeness. Anyway, you look up the words on this, where the Registrar General signs off on this. When you look in that law dictionary, maybe somebody can do this as an exercise later, take a look at what a deed is. A deed must describe the property in full detail and be accurate and complete. This is the deed to this. There's also a law, the trust law, that says where an instrument is executed after July 1st, 1867, the holder thereof is deemed to be the trustee without conveyance of rights or title. Okay, in a nutshell. Something gets signed, the holder thereof is deemed to be the trustee. An instrument in writing that conveys an interest in land from the grantor to the grantee. It's usually used to transfer realty. Its main function is to pass title. And deed of trust, a legal transfer from the trustor to the trustee. Anyway, we'll just skip that for now. It's like, it goes on. So what happened is, this instrument was executed. The holder thereof is whom? How many people have a statement of live birth? How many people have an original? How many people have a certified copy? Ah, where's the original?
That's what I want to know.
Birth certificate, statements of live birth are done under letters patent registration system under common law England under existing royal ancient charter. Common law existing royal ancient charter. She's got the original, she's holding the title to this. For everyone in here. Well, almost everyone. There's a few exceptions in the room. Okay, so she's holding the title to this. How many people have heard her referred to as the Queen Mum?
Yep.
How old is this?
1867?
Usually you'll see that this is registered 2 to 3 days after the baby was born.
Right.
In 100 years from now, how old's the baby?
3 days.
It's still 3 days. It never ages. This document always says it's 3 days old. The Queen Mum is still responsible for all of these babies. Okay? This indicates your share of the Commonwealth of Canada. How many people know Canada's a Commonwealth country? Right? Well, your share of the Commonwealth, if there's 32 million people inside this colony, your share of the Commonwealth is denoted by 1/32 millionth of that value, and that's your share of the Commonwealth held in a foreign jurisdiction. And we need attorneys to go between jurisdictions. That's why the attorneys handle everything for this, because this is over here and this is a different jurisdiction. And that's why we always need attorneys to go back and forth in between the two. Okay, so now the baby is 2 years old. Statement of live birth is over here. Well, let's go back to 2 days old. The statement of live birth is over here. Her Majesty has a really, really hard time looking after all these babies. So what they'll do is they'll go out and hire the person known as mom and the person known as dad, because these guys all have EIN numbers. They're already working for this corporation. They've already got the Walmart uniform. Well, see, I should pick it. They've already got the Canada uniform on. They're already bound by the rules of this corporation. They're already working for this. They get now baby bonus, tax credits for looking at